that so many surface business owners struggle with. And it's one of the number one reasons why our clients come to us to get help. It's that they find themselves in a position where they're not really leading their team. They feel like they're having to drag their team behind them. They're dragging people who say they want more responsibility, but avoid accountability. They're dragging people who are waiting for direction instead of stepping up. They're dragging team members that play it safe, avoid conflict, need constant reminding and following up. So while you're trying to grow your business, you're also having to be the one that solves problems that others should be solving. You're having to repeat yourself about simple things that your team should really have dialed in at this point. And the unfortunate thing is, this leads you to feeling like you're babysitting grown adults who should already know their job at this point, and it's starting to build resentment in many cases. And somewhere in all of this, you find yourself asking yourself questions like, why won't they step up? Why aren't they bought into what we're doing here? Why do I have to repeat myself 1,000 times? Why isn't this obvious to them? It's not that hard, right? So, if these are things that you're struggling with and that are frustrating you, let me be clear. To build real leadership in your company, you don't need to go out and hire rock stars, unicorns. You can build a solid leadership system that ensures that average players can perform at a high level. You also don't need to have previous experience or have gone to school for this. I hear that from our clients that they feel, I've got imposter syndrome. Like I've never owned a business, I've never led a team like this. So who am I? You can achieve the results that you want by having the right systems in place. And that's what we're going to share with you today. And the other thing that you absolutely don't need to have right now is more people to solve this if your system is broken or you're lacking the system altogether. What you need is a real leadership engine, which is a repeatable system that sets your team up for success so they can actually drive the business forward without you having to handhold them every step of the way. And it's one of the 7 systems of our growth engine. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to install it in your business. And by the end of this episode, you're going to know how to build the 4 parts of the leadership engine so you can stop dragging your team and start scaling with leaders who can carry the load with you. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's kick it off with part 1 in your leadership engine, what we call the high impact meeting system. You need a meeting system that drives results and outcomes. Far too often, meetings do more harm than good. Meetings are ineffective, unenjoyable. Your team is just kind of sitting there, eyes glazed over, or when they do get into it, everybody's talking over each other, turns into a bitch fest or just brainstorming ideas. But at the end of it, you're no further along than when you started. In fact, you've wasted time, people have less clarity, and nothing is actioned for the future. And so, what you need are meetings that actually move the needle. You need the right cadence and format that gives your team clear targets and expectations, fast feedback loops, and visibility of measuring what matters so that you can see what's on track, what's not on track, and what you're going to do about it. This is how you stop managing by memory and start leading by metrics. So that's a big difference, is that meetings should be centered around the metrics that matter, right? That's how we're going to drive results. And your meeting rhythm should include daily huddles if you need them, but you've got to have weekly tactical meetings, monthly performance syncs, and you've got to have quarterly strategic meetings, right? So you need to have the right types of meetings to drive growth in the business. And when they're done right, meetings will shift the weight of leadership from you to your team. And that is a game changer for business owners. Number 2, the second part in the leadership engine are scorecards that drive ownership. Now, I've shared with you, if you've tuned into a previous episode, the company OS, right? The company operating system. And in that, I talked about scorecards that track business performance. But in the leadership engine, you're now leveraging those scorecards in how you develop people who can own and drive performance. Each team member and every leader should know what they're responsible for, how success is measured, and what happens and what to do when things aren't on track. Now, here's the big difference. This is not a control mechanism, it's a growth tool. Leaders need visibility to lead, and you don't build accountability just by checking in, you build it by building clarity for your team. So that's part number two in the leadership engine. Now, part three in the leadership engine is what we call outcome ownership frameworks. Basically, what this is you need to move from team members owning tasks to owning outcomes. And a lot of owners delegate, but they delegate too little, they delegate too late, and to the wrong person. So we need to make sure that we're not just handing off tasks, we're handing off outcomes. And a leadership engine that leverages this framework installs a system for developing leaders at scale. So growth doesn't rely on the owner, doesn't rely on unicorn hires. It can scale on a team of average players. You also need to have crystal clear ownership lines. So there's no confusion on who's responsible for what. Nobody needs to step up. They just do what's expected. You need to define outcomes and not have vague expectations, right? Because so often business owners think that team members know what they're responsible for or what the expectations are, but they really don't. And that's a big gap. So execution doesn't depend on guesswork, right? You've got to have clarity there. When everybody knows what, why, and when, you can stop babysitting and your team can start leading. Now, the fourth part in the leadership engine is actually development, leadership development. And that doesn't happen by accident. This is something that's so often missed, that a healthy amount of your day as an owner needs to be spent coaching and leveling up your team. Instead, owners are usually waiting for somebody to step up instead of building somebody up. Now, we need to go from thinking that leadership is a personality trait. We're either born with it, we have it, or we don't. It's a skill set that can be developed. And the only way to develop it is to coach deliberately. You need to have one-on-ones and work with your team to develop their decision making, not just manage deliverables or tasks, right? We need to have real ownership moments where team members are getting to lead meetings, lead these solutions to the problems you're having, lead managing people. And we also need to have real-time coaching and feedback in the moment when it actually matters. So often as owners, we drop the ball because we don't give feedback in real time. We don't coach and develop right then and there. We wait and we don't give that feedback, and our team doesn't improve and we become more resentful, right? That our expectations are not being met. You don't just build a business, you build people, and those people build the business. So those are the four parts to the leadership engine. And if you truly are tired of feeling like you're dragging your team, if your version of leadership feels more like emotional labor, micromanagement, or babysitting than freedom and growth, you don't need to fire everybody. You need to install a leadership engine. This is the system that develops leaders on purpose so your business can scale without you carrying it. And just a reminder, it's just one of the 7 systems inside the growth engine. And this model is what's necessary to build a truly sustainable and scalable business. Just one of the systems on its own doesn't do that. All 7 systems together is what you need to really take your business to peak potential, have it operate like a well-oiled machine without you, and be highly profitable. If you want help building and installing this growth engine in your business, then you can reach out to us by going to our website at drivenforgrowth.co, and you can book a call with our team so we can discuss if it's the right fit for you. Otherwise, go ahead and check out the links in the description or the show notes for the extra tools and resources that we provide you in every episode. Until next time, guys, stay driven for growth.